we build giant corporate and government entities.
As we build up to the holiday season, the time of year when it gets cold, and historically people died off, the powers that be came up with a fantastic plan. Save up food and simply eat during the winter to stop the die-off. In modern times, that means shopping and a very distant second, eating till you're stuffed. How many of you knew this? I was planning on making a video telling you to save your money this year. I started off with a year by quoting silver coin prices and suggesting that you buy, since they were amazingly low. No one listened. I was going to tell you now to save, but I think first, you need a proper place to put your money to really feel you're actually doing something good first. So I'm presenting you with 10 banks that will pay you 10 times what other banks are paying in savings accounts. Welcome to the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. It's a well-known fact that interest rates in savings accounts are incredibly low. In fact, the average saving account is hovering around 0.06%. That's such a far cry from pre-existing times. It's shocking. At rates that low, one might ask, why even have a savings account? Why don't I just place my money earned under the mattress? I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. In fact, the Federal Reserve Bank is actually hovering at a negative interest rate. That's how they're keeping the rates so low to the first tier commercial banks. However, if you did that, you'd be leaving money on the table or under the mattress. There are much better options out there. Savings account options that earn 15 times the average rate of 0.06%. So I've done a bit of research, quite a bit of research, to find the best accounts. In my search, I've come across a few that stand above the rest. You'd be in good shape if you had any of these accounts. But after some thorough analysis, one of them truly earns the title of Best Savings Account in 2017. Here the first top 3 are at a glance. I have over 50, but I think the first 20 is probably enough for you to really sink your teeth into. So if you really want to get into it, you'll know what to look for. Let me give you some a bit of education about this. I was taken aback by the first 3 numbers that I saw. 1.3% and 1.25%. Why didn't we hear about these accounts before putting large sums into untrustworthy banks? You know who I'm talking about. You might be saying to yourself, Synchrony Bank is clearly the winner because their APY is slightly higher. That's taken on October 10th, 2017. However, you just can't jump to a conclusion, as there are other important factors to consider when opening a savings account. So let's take a look here. Monthly minimums. This one is pretty simple. American Express Bank, FSB, has no monthly fees regarding a balance. To give you a little comparison, Bank of America requires $300 in your account to avoid a monthly charge. So if you're looking for a great no-fee bank, American Express Bank FSB is a perfect option. Winner, American Express Bank FSB. Bank reputation. This might not have been very important before the financial crisis, but times have changed. We need to feel safe with where we put our hard-earned money. Each of these banks are backed by the maximum allowable FDIC guarantee of $250,000. This means if the bank defaults, the U.S. government will repay you every penny you had in the account up to $250,000. Bank of America, Chase, etc. all have the same insurance. More than just the FDIC insurance, we need reliability and value from our bank. So here is how the top banks fare in terms of reputation. Known for its quality, customer-focused products in the credit card department, American Express has made a successful leap into the personal banking space. Think of American Express Bank as a small bank with the resources of a global financial powerhouse. In 2015, Synchrony Bank won awards from both Kiplinger and Bankrate. If you're not familiar with these companies, they are two of the largest personal finance websites with roughly 20 million combined readers every month. Many of the writers for these sites, if not most, are financial professors. I've also written about Kiplinger and Bankrate if you are a member of my Patreon account, patreon.com/Shikama, where I went over how to raise your credit up to a perfect credit score. I had a credit score of 800 and something. I went from a credit score of 500 to 800 and something in a few months. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a few months. And I show you how on the patreon.com/Shikama website. Capital One 360 has been donned a great bank for those looking to start building their savings. It's not just a lack of fees. They go a couple of steps further by giving you tools to track your savings progress, and for some, they even offer a sign-up bonus depending on how much you deposit. It was a close call, but the winner is, of course, American Express Bank, FSB. Now, customer service and ease of use. The companies all have good customer service according to online reviews. 3-star reviews don't sound great for a restaurant, but for an industry that's really suffering from an image problem, 3-star ratings are some of the best ratings received. Comparatively, Bank of America had 1.6 stars, HSBC had 1.4 stars, and Chase came in at 2.5 stars. So how did Investopedia figure this out? Members of the team at Investopedia personally opened up accounts in each and compared notes over a 2-week period. All of the bank's websites are state-of-the-art and incredibly intuitive, and each has an American English-speaking support team that is very attentive and easy to deal with. When they compared their notes, there was a slight differentiation, and Capital One seemed to be the most responsive and friendly, which is what I have. Capital One 360 was the clear winner. Interest rate. This one's easy. At 1.30%, Synchrony Bank interest rate is slightly higher. Even though Synchrony Bank's rate is slightly higher, really, either of these accounts are a huge improvement over what Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo would pay you at 0.01%. So the clear winner here is Synchrony Bank. So the conclusion, of course, in a video talking about presenting to you banks that are paying 10 to 16 times what other banks are paying, other regular banks that you go to. When it comes down to it, Synchrony offers arguably the best products out there. They have one of the highest interest rates available, virtually no fees, and a great reputation to boot. So after all of the research, Synchrony Bank was a winner at the best savings account. So winner, Synchrony Bank, overall. Now, let me tell you how you should go about saving money, and I'm telling you, for this entire holiday season, I don't want you to spend money on presents and food and all that sort of stuff. Why am I so against that? Because a few years ago, I got on the bus in January, and I overheard a conversation between a man and his friend. And he said, I went into $30,000 of debt on my credit cards. The other man says, why? He says, I wanted to give my daughter a Christmas that he had never had. So I used up all of my credit cards and I bought her this and that and the other. So the guy said, what do you do for a living? He says, I'm on minimum wage. I work a minimum wage job as like a security officer or something like that. I was so dumbstruck. And then, of course, when you hear something so crazy, then you keep hearing it from everybody around you. So that year, I kept hearing other people saying the same exact thing. And then the news said the same exact thing. And of course, the news was really happy, but they're not coming across happy. They're reporting this man went into $20,000 in debt, and this person went into $10,000, and they don't have the money. Over the course of the year, they're not going to be able to pay off that $30,000, $20,000, $10,000. Now, you're saying to yourself, I would never do that. That would never be me. It probably is, and it probably has been. In your zeal to prove that you're a great parent, that you really love your kid, you go out and buy them things. How is that? How? Why? Now, I was in a different situation, of course. Most of you already know. I grew up fairly well-to-do. I literally didn't even want the things. The things that I pined after. I lived overseas, though. The stuff that I really wanted was the home-cooked meals, because at the time we didn't have. Most of the time I was there, we did not have a chef. We only had a chef for a very short time. The maid didn't really cook. I don't know why the maid didn't cook, but the maid or the butler didn't cook. You would think the maid should cook, right? And my mother, I can count the times she cooked in my lifetime. I can count the number on one hand, the number of times my mother cooked in my life. And I'm 30-something years old. I want you to instead think of, what does your child really need as far as going out and spending money? And I don't want you to use any credit cards. None. Zero. Especially all of us people. You know what I mean by that. Us people. No use of credit card, out of the question. And I want you to save. That's my dog trying to talk. I want you to save. No decorations. None of that stuff. None of that stuff. No going out and getting a huge Christmas tree. None of that stuff. If you have old decorations, bring them out. I know people who buy new decorations every year. Oh, we got to replace the lights every year because they think they have something to prove to somebody. Now, I hope these pictures that I'm putting up will encourage you. Now, even with this in place, I want you to know that this will not overcome inflation. Inflation is still at 6 to 7%. However, this will overcome the reported inflation, which is 2 to 3%, right? So if you're at 1.3%, you are well ahead of everybody, right? And if you're saving, if you don't listen to my investment videos, if at least save and put your money into these places. Do you roll around in the dirt? I mean, do you just roll around in the dirt? What do you do? Take a bath in the dirt? And your nose is white. Come on now. All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for paying attention. And please, I'm more concerned about your financial situation than I am my own. My own situation is trying to run several businesses all at once. And I probably need to be far more attentive than I am. I've been taking a break and I've been sick, but that's over now. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a fantastic holiday season. My neighbor wanted me to decorate the entire house or even create a haunted house. I don't know why everybody thinks that I should do this and that and the other for the neighborhood, but that's how it is. Like the video, share the video with everybody. I know one person said they shared it with their daughter. How about sharing it with everybody? Everybody on share this video. This is a video you can share with anybody and everybody. You just want to ruin my video? Okay, now calm down. Share the video, like the video, subscribe. I will be doing more of these. Do you want me to do more of these? Answer me below.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust.